Hi, I'm Noelle. For the past 3 years, I've been sharing a small but comfortable two-bedroom apartment with my older brother, Ethan. It was the perfect arrangement. We split the rent, respected each other's space, and generally got along great despite our 5-year age gap. That is, until Ethan married Vanessa last spring. Noelle, can we talk for a minute? Ethan asked one evening, fidgeting with his coffee mug while I sorted through the mail. Sure, what's up? I dropped the envelopes on the counter and joined him at our tiny kitchen table. So, Vanessa's parents are coming to town next weekend for their anniversary, he started, not quite meeting my eyes. Their hotel reservations fell through and they need a place to stay. I nodded slowly. Okay, but we don't have a guest room. Are they taking your room? Well, that's the thing. Ethan cleared his throat. Vanessa thought it would be best if they took your room. It's a little bigger and they'd be more comfortable there. And where am I supposed to sleep? I asked, already feeling a knot forming in my stomach. Just for 3 nights, Noelle. You could take the couch. I'd offer my room, but with Vanessa staying over more often. He trailed off. Fine, whatever. Just for the weekend, right? I agreed reluctantly. Thanks, sis. You're the best. Ethan smiled, relieved. When Friday arrived, I came home from work expecting to find the Millers, Vanessa's parents, settling in. Instead, I found my bedroom door wide open, my belongings piled haphazardly in the living room corner, and Mrs. Miller hanging up framed photos on my walls. Excuse me, what's happening here? I asked, dropping my bag by the door. Mrs. Miller turned, her pinched face revealing nothing but mild irritation at being interrupted. Oh, you must be Ethan's sister. We're just making ourselves comfortable. In my bedroom? With all my stuff moved out? I gestured to the pile of my possessions. Mr. Miller appeared in the doorway, a newspaper tucked under his arm. Vanessa told us you were fine with this arrangement. The couch is made up for you. For 3 nights, yes, but you're acting like you're moving in, I said, trying to keep my voice level. Oh, didn't Ethan tell you? Mrs. Miller smiled thinly. We're staying for 3 weeks, not 3 days. Our condo is being renovated. My phone buzzed with a text from my friend Morgan. Hey, still on for dinner tonight? Where's Ethan? I demanded, ignoring the text for now. He and Vanessa went to pick up dinner, Mr. Miller said dismissively, returning to his room. I stepped outside and called Morgan, my hands shaking with anger. Morgan, you won't believe what just happened, I said when she answered. What's wrong? You sound upset, Morgan replied. Ethan told me his in-laws needed my room for the weekend. I just got home and found all my stuff in a pile, and apparently they're staying for 3 weeks, I explained, pacing on the sidewalk. 3 weeks? On your couch? That's insane. Exactly. And the way they're acting like they own the place, they've hung pictures on my walls, Morgan. Pictures? That's beyond disrespectful. What did Ethan say? He's not even here. He and Vanessa conveniently disappeared to pick up dinner. This isn't right, Noelle, Morgan said firmly. You pay half the rent. They can't just kick you out of your room without even discussing it properly. I know. I can't believe Ethan would do this to me, I said, my voice cracking. He lied to my face. I'm really sorry, Noelle, Ethan said the next morning, cornering me in the kitchen while his in-laws were showering. I should have told you the truth about how long they'd be staying. You think? I stirred my coffee more aggressively than necessary. Why did you lie to me? Vanessa was worried you'd say no, he admitted, lowering his voice. Her parents' condo really is being renovated, and they had nowhere else to go. So instead you ambushed me? I pay half the rent, Ethan. Half. I know. Look, we can work something out with the rent for this month. It's not just about the money, I hissed. It's about respect. They moved all my stuff without asking. Mrs. Miller is redecorating my room. Ethan ran his hand through his hair. They can be a little set in their ways. Set in their ways? They're treating me like an unwelcome guest in my own home? Could you please keep your voice down? Ethan glanced nervously toward the hallway. Mr. Miller is a light sleeper. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I disturbing your in-laws in my bedroom? I slammed my mug down, coffee sloshing over the rim. Please, Noelle, Ethan pleaded. Just give it some time. They'll settle in and things will calm down. I'm going to work, I muttered, grabbing my bag. Don't expect me for dinner. At lunch, I met with our landlord, Mr. Ramirez, at the small cafe across from my office. Thank you for meeting me on such short notice, I said, sliding into the booth across from him. No problem, Noelle. You sounded upset on the phone. What's going on? My brother moved his in-laws into my bedroom without proper permission, and they're planning to stay for 3 weeks. Is that even allowed under our lease? Mr. Ramirez frowned. Your lease specifies 2 residents, you and Ethan. Guests are permitted, but not extended stays without notification. 3 weeks definitely counts as extended. So they can't just move in like this? No, they can't. If they're staying that long, they need to be added to the lease, and I'd have to approve it. Which would mean additional rent, right? Absolutely. And a security deposit, he confirmed. Later that afternoon, I called my cousin Zoe, who works as a paralegal. Hey, Zoe, quick legal question for you, I said after explaining the situation. Well, from what you've described, you have tenant rights they're violating, Zoe replied. Your brother can't just give away your space that you're legally paying for? That's what I thought. Have you talked to Vanessa about this? Maybe she doesn't know the full story? I've been avoiding her, I admitted. She's been giving me dirty looks whenever I'm in the apartment. You should confront her, Zoe advised. Establish boundaries before this gets worse. That evening, I ran into Vanessa in the apartment parking lot. We need to talk, I said, blocking her path to the building entrance. About what? She asked, her tone immediately defensive. About your parents taking over my bedroom for 3 weeks without my permission? Vanessa sighed dramatically. Look, Noelle, my parents needed a place to stay. It's only temporary. 3 weeks is not temporary, and you knew I wouldn't agree to it, which is why you and Ethan lied to me. They're family, Noelle. Family helps each other out. They're your family, not mine. And this isn't helping. It's taking advantage. You're being selfish, Vanessa snapped. It's just a room. It's my room in an apartment I pay for, I retorted. And your parents haven't even thanked me or acknowledged that they're inconveniencing me. Because you've been acting like a spoiled brat. It's just a couch, for God's sake. I took a deep breath. I talked to our landlord today. What you've done is actually a violation of our lease. You went behind our backs to the landlord? Vanessa's face flushed with anger. I'm just exploring my options, I replied coolly. I also talked to my cousin who works in real estate law. Are you threatening us? Vanessa stepped closer, her voice dropping dangerously. I'm informing you that there will be consequences if this situation isn't resolved properly. Later that night, I called Morgan from my car, unable to face another night on the lumpy couch, with Mr. Miller's snoring echoing through the thin walls. Can I crash at your place tonight? I asked. Of course, but I have a better idea for how to handle this situation. The next afternoon, I returned to the apartment with Morgan and Mr. Ramirez in tow. Ethan, Vanessa, and the Millers were all in the living room watching TV when we walked in. What's going on? Ethan asked, standing quickly. Why is Mr. Ramirez here? I've come to address a lease violation, Mr. Ramirez said professionally. I understand you have unauthorized tenants staying in the apartment. Mrs. Miller bristled. We are not tenants. We're family visiting our daughter and son-in-law. For 3 weeks in a bedroom belonging to a paying tenant, I pointed out. That's not visiting, that's living here. This is ridiculous, Vanessa interjected. Noelle, you're making a scene over nothing. It's not nothing to me, I replied firmly. You moved my belongings without permission, took over my personal space, and expected me to sleep on a couch for 3 weeks without even discussing it with me properly. We had nowhere else to go, Mrs. Miller exclaimed. Our condo is being renovated. That's not Noelle's problem, Morgan said, crossing her arms. Mr. Miller rose from his seat, his face reddening. Young lady, you have no respect for your elders or for family obligations. And you have no respect for me or my home, I countered. You didn't even ask me directly. You had Ethan lie to me. I'm sure we can work this out reasonably, Ethan said nervously, looking between all of us. There's nothing to work out, I said firmly. Mr. Ramirez has made it clear that extended guests need to be approved and added to the lease, with additional rent paid. We're not paying rent to visit family, Mrs. Miller exclaimed. Then you can't stay here for 3 weeks, Mr. Ramirez stated simply. The lease is very clear on this matter. This is all your fault. Vanessa turned to me, her voice rising. You couldn't be inconvenienced for a few weeks to help out family? Don't turn this around on me, I shot back. You and Ethan lied to me. You moved my things without asking. You treated me like I don't matter in my own home. Because you don't, Vanessa blurted out, then immediately looked like she regretted it. The room fell silent. Vanessa, that was uncalled for, Ethan said quietly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean, Vanessa began. Yes, you did, I interrupted. And that's exactly the problem. You don't think I have any right to be here, even though I've lived here longer than you've been in the picture? Perhaps we should discuss alternatives, Mr. Ramirez suggested. There are no alternatives, Mr. Miller growled, stepping toward me. We're staying right here, and if you don't like it, you can find somewhere else to go. Are you threatening me? I asked, standing my ground. Dad, please, Vanessa pleaded. No, I want to hear this, I said, not backing down. Are you threatening to force me out of my own apartment, Mr. Miller? I'm saying know your place, he hissed, jabbing a finger toward me. You ungrateful little— That's enough! Mr. Ramirez stepped between us. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to lower your voice and step back, or I'll be forced to call the authorities. Go ahead, Mr. Miller shouted. Call them. Let's see who they side with. Robert, please, Mrs. Miller tugged at his arm. You're making things worse. No, let him continue, Morgan said, holding up her phone. I'm recording this, by the way. Verbal threats and intimidation make for interesting evidence. The next morning, I sat in Mr. Ramirez's office with Ethan, reviewing the amended lease agreement. So, to summarize, Mr. Ramirez said, the Millers can stay for 1 week maximum while they find alternative accommodations. They'll pay a prorated portion of rent for that week, and Noelle will be compensated for the use of her room. That sounds fair. Ethan nodded, looking exhausted. Thank you for being reasonable about this, Noelle. I'm not being reasonable. I'm standing up for myself, I replied. There's a difference. After signing the papers, Ethan and I walked to the parking lot in awkward silence. Vanessa's pretty upset, he finally said. Her parents are looking at extended stay hotels now. Good, I said simply. Noelle, they're going to be my family for a long time. Can't you try to make peace with them? I stopped walking and turned to face him. Ethan, they disrespected me, and so did you. You lied to me and let them take over my space without my permission? I know, and I'm really sorry about that, he said. I should have handled it differently. Yes, you should have, I agreed. But you chose Vanessa and her parents over me. That's something I won't forget. They're my in-laws, Noelle. What was I supposed to do? Stand up for me. Tell them they needed to ask me properly. Respect that I pay half the rent and deserve half the say in what happens in our apartment. When we returned home, Officer Garcia was talking with Mr. and Mrs. Miller in the living room. Vanessa stood nearby, arms crossed and face stony. What's going on? Ethan asked. Your sister filed a complaint about Mr. Miller's threatening behavior yesterday, Officer Garcia explained. I'm just taking statements from everyone involved. This is outrageous, Mrs. Miller exclaimed. Robert never threatened anyone. We have a recording that suggests otherwise, Officer Garcia replied calmly. Miss Morgan provided it to the department this morning. It was just a heated moment, Vanessa protested. Everyone was upset. Regardless, threats of intimidation are taken seriously, Officer Garcia said. For now, I'm issuing a warning, but if there are any further incidents, there will be more formal consequences. After Officer Garcia left, the tension in the apartment was thick enough to cut with a knife. "I hope you're happy," Vanessa said bitterly. "You've humiliated my family." "Your father humiliated himself," I replied. "All I did was stand up for myself." "We should have never agreed to let you live with Ethan," Mrs. Miller muttered. "Let me? This was my apartment first," I reminded her. "Maybe it's time we found our own place," Vanessa said to Ethan. "Somewhere without your sister?" "Maybe it is," I agreed before Ethan could respond. "Because I'm not going anywhere." 3 days later, the Millers moved to an extended stay hotel across town. A week after that, Ethan informed me he and Vanessa would be looking for their own apartment. "I'm sorry it came to this," he said as we sorted through the shared kitchenware, deciding what belonged to whom. "Are you really?" I asked. "Because I'm not. This whole situation showed me where I stand with you now. Noelle, you're still my sister. But I'm not your priority anymore," I finished for him. "And that's fine. People grow up, get married, form new families. But respect goes both ways, Ethan." After Ethan and Vanessa moved out, I met Morgan for coffee to thank her for her support. "I can't believe you recorded Mr. Miller's meltdown," I laughed, feeling lighter than I had in weeks. "Best decision ever," Morgan grinned. The look on his face when the officer mentioned the recording? "I couldn't have stood up to them without your help," I said sincerely. "Yes, you could have," Morgan insisted. "You just needed to know your rights. And now you have a whole apartment to yourself." "True, though I'll need to find a new roommate to afford the rent." "Or maybe this is an opportunity," Morgan suggested. "You've been talking about moving downtown to be closer to work. Now you can do that without worrying about Ethan." 2 months later, Mrs. Miller called me out of the blue. "Noelle, I'm calling to apologize," she said stiffly. "Our behavior was inappropriate, and we shouldn't have imposed on you the way we did." "Thank you for acknowledging that," I replied, surprised by the call. "Ethan and Vanessa would like to have you over for dinner next weekend, to try to mend fences." I considered this for a moment. "I appreciate the invitation, but I'm not ready for that. Some bridges can't be unburned." "But we're family." "No, Mrs. Miller. You and Mr. Miller are Vanessa's family. Ethan is my family. And when he chose to lie to me and dismiss my feelings, he damaged that relationship. That's not something a dinner can fix." After hanging up, I looked around my new downtown studio apartment. Small, but all mine. No shared spaces, no roommates, no compromises. On my nightstand sat a framed quote Morgan had given me as a housewarming gift. "Sometimes standing up for yourself is more important than standing by your family." Have you ever had to choose between keeping the peace and standing up for yourself? What would you have done in my situation? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this one.